Hey, coin collectors! Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins. Today, we've got something truly special for you. It's a coin that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.9 million. We're talking about the 1981p Washington quarter dollar. Stick around to find out why this coin is so valuable, how to identify it, and the incredible story behind its massive worth. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1981p quarter, let's take a quick trip down history lane. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, and its design has become one of the most iconic in U.S. coinage. On the obverse, we have George Washington's portrait, our nation's first president, a symbol of strength and leadership. On the reverse, the eagle, representing freedom and power. But did you know that not all Washington quarters are created equal? While most quarters you come across are fairly common, some, like the one we're talking about today, can fetch prices that will blow your mind. So, what makes the 1981p Washington quarter so valuable? Let's get into it. Now, let's talk about the star of the show, the 1981p Washington quarter. At first glance, it might seem like just another regular quarter from the early 80s. But what if I told you that this coin, which was minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 1981, has a very rare and important characteristic? It's not just any ordinary coin, it's one with a rare era that sets it apart from every other quarter in existence. Here's where things get interesting. The 1981p Washington quarter was struck with a massive minting error. You see, most 1981 quarters were made at the Denver Mint, and those quarters are fairly common. But only a small number of 1981p quarters were released into circulation with a major error. These coins were mistakenly struck with the wrong die, resulting in an extremely rare and valuable piece. Experts believe that only around a few dozen of these 1981p quarters with the error exist, and they're extremely sought after by collectors. This error is what makes the 1981p quarter so valuable. And some of these error coins have sold for as much as $1.9 million at auction. So how do you know if you have a 1981p Washington quarter that's worth millions? Well, there are a few key signs to look for. First, make sure it has the P Mint mark, indicating it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Then, you'll want to carefully examine the details of the coin, especially on the reverse side, for signs of the minting error. One of the telltale signs is a slight doubling or misalignment of the eagle's feathers and the lettering around the edge. This happens because the wrong die was used during the strike, leading to a visual distortion on the coin's surface. If you think you've found a 1981p quarter with this error, you might just be holding onto a piece of history. Now, let's talk about the incredible auction history of these error coins. In recent years, a few 1981p Washington quarters have hit the auction block, and the results have been mind-blowing. One of the highest recorded sales for a 1981p error quarter came in at a staggering $1.9 million. The coin was sold to an anonymous collector who understood just how rare and valuable it truly was. Now, most 1981p quarters won't fetch anywhere near that amount. But even coins in lower grades have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, making this coin one of the most valuable modern-era quarters out there. So, what if your 1981p quarter isn't a minting error, but it's still in near-perfect condition? Well, it's not as rare as the error coins, but a well-preserved, high-grade 1981p quarter can still be worth a pretty penny. Depending on the condition and whether it has any unique characteristics, these coins can fetch anywhere from $5 to $50, sometimes even more. If you happen to have one of these rare 1981p Washington quarters, or any valuable coin for that matter, how should you protect it? Well, the first step is to store your coin in a safe, dry place, ideally in a coin holder or a protective slab to preserve its condition. You don't want it getting scratched or damaged, as that can affect its value. And if you think you have a rare coin, it's always a good idea to get it professionally appraised. Experts can help you determine its true value and guide you through the selling process if you decide to cash in on your treasure. So, what do you think? Could you be sitting on a $1.9 million coin and not even know it? The 1981 P. Washington quarter with the rare minting error is one of those coins that reminds us just how valuable and unexpected the world of coin collecting can be. If you're a collector or just starting your journey, this is the kind of discovery that could change everything. 1986 P. Washington quarter dollar coin. Not only is it a key piece of U.S. coin history, but a special variant of this coin has recently sold for an eye-popping $1.9 million. That's right, this coin, which you might find in your pocket change, is worth an unbelievable amount. Stay tuned as we break down the story behind this rare coin and its astounding value. First, let's talk a bit about the history of the 1986 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, replacing the older standing Liberty quarter. Over the years, the design has seen various updates, but the basic look remains consistent. In 1986, the U.S. Mint struck over 500 million quarters, but they were primarily mass-produced for circulation. Most of these coins were distributed into the economy, and you could easily find one in your pocket. So, why is it that a coin from this year could be worth millions of dollars? Well, the key to understanding why a regular 1986 P coin is worth so much lies in the concept of rarity and minting errors. Most 1986 P quarters were produced with no unique features, making them relatively common. But sometimes, a coin might be struck with a flaw that makes it rare, and that's where the value comes in. One of the most important things that collectors look for is any deviation from the norm. For example, improperly aligned dies, double strikes, or missing details. These flaws can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into something extraordinarily valuable. Cut to images of rare error coins and a close-up of the error coin in question. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. In recent years, a particular 1986 P Washington quarter was discovered to have an incredibly rare minting error, a double die obverse. This means that the coin was struck twice with a misaligned die, resulting in a clear doubling effect on the design. This error is not something you can easily spot unless you know exactly what to look for. Show close-up visuals of the doubling effect on Washington's portrait and lettering. Coin collectors, especially those focused on error coins, go crazy for these kinds of mistakes. In this case, a coin featuring the double die obverse error was found and subsequently sold at auction for a staggering $1.9 million. That's right, $1.9 million. Cut to visuals of collectors handling rare coins at coin shows or auctions. So, why did this particular coin fetch such a massive price? Well, error coins are prized because they are incredibly rare. The vast majority of coins, even those from the same minting year, don't have any major flaws. It's the rarity of the error combined with the historical significance of the Washington quarter that drove the value up. Show an image of the coin in a grading slab, possibly with the grading score. The 1986 P double die obverse error coin was graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, as being in mint state, which added to its value. When a coin is graded highly, like this one, it shows that the coin is in exceptional condition, further boosting its worth in the eyes of collectors. So, what should you be looking for if you think your 1986 P Washington quarter might be worth more than face value? First, let's talk about the most important feature to check, the double die obverse. You want to look closely at George Washington's face and the lettering. If you notice any visible doubling on these features, you may have a rare coin in your hands. Show visuals of other potential minting errors like die cracks, off-center strikes, or missing elements. Other things to check for include die cracks, off-center strikes, or areas where the coin's design seems to be incomplete. These are also considered errors, though they tend not to carry as much value as a double die obverse. Once you've found a potential error coin, the next step is to have it authenticated and graded. The grading process evaluates the coin's condition, which can significantly affect its value. Coin grading is done by professional services like PCGS or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, and the higher the grade, the higher the value. Show visual of a graded coin and how the grade impacts its value. Coins in mint state, like the 1986 P error coin, will fetch higher prices. Coins that have been damaged or show heavy wear will generally be worth less, even if they have a minting error. So, what makes error coins like the 1986p Washington quarter so valuable? The answer lies in rarity, collector demand, and the uniqueness of each mistake. A single coin with a minting error can be the only one of its kind, and that's what drives up the price. To sum up, while most 1986p Washington quarters are worth only a quarter, one rare error coin from that year recently fetched $1.9 million. So, it's always a good idea to check your change for any potential rare finds. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more incredible stories from the world of numismatics. 1989p Mint Mark Washington Quarter Dollar, a coin that's making waves in the coin market. Believe it or not, this coin could be worth as much as $1.7 million. But how is this possible? Let's find out together. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an exciting coin video. Now, the 1989 Washington Quarter was released as part of the ongoing series that honored George Washington, our first president. It's one of those coins you might find in your pocket change today, but the story of the 1989p Mint Mark Quarter is much more than just a regular release. For most of us, finding a 1989 quarter is no big deal, but for a select few, this specific coin can bring in big money. The Washington Quarter has been produced since 1932, with the 1989p Mint Mark being a regular issue from the Philadelphia Mint. However, it's not the design or even the year that makes this coin valuable. It's actually the rarity and unique characteristics of certain errors and variations found in the coinage. So, what exactly makes the 1989p Mint Mark Washington Quarter so valuable? Well, unlike typical quarters, this coin is highly sought after by collectors due to one key factor: a rare error. If you're lucky enough to find one, you might just have a double die variety, which dramatically increases the value. Show a detailed comparison between a normal 1989p quarter and one with the double die error, highlighting the differences in the lettering and features. Double die errors occur when the coin is struck twice by the die, and it results in a blurry or misaligned image on the coin. The 1989p quarter's error was caused by an imperfect strike at the Philadelphia Mint, leading to a noticeable doubling of the letters in the word Liberty, and even in the date 1989. These small but significant details can mean the difference between a quarter worth face value and one worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about the big number you've been waiting for: $1.7 million. That's right, a 1989p Mint Mark Washington Quarter has sold for this jaw-dropping price at auction. But how did that happen? It's all about rarity and condition. Coins in perfect condition, especially those with rare errors, are highly prized by collectors and investors. A pristine example of the 1989p quarter with the double die error can fetch nearly $2 million, depending on the auction and the buyer. To give you an example, a coin graded by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, at a perfect grade, such as MS67 or MS68, can reach insane values. The coin's condition, combined with the rarity of the error, makes it highly desirable in the market. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare coins, and that's how the 1989p quarter reached a value of $1.7 million. Alright, so now you might be wondering, how can you tell if you have this rare and valuable quarter? Well, it's all about being on the lookout for the signs of the double die error. Let's break down how you can identify a 1989p Mint Mark Washington Quarter with this significant error. Start by looking closely at the word Liberty. On a normal 1989p quarter, you'll see clean, sharp letters. But if your coin has the double die error, the letters will be doubled, giving them a blurry or slightly misaligned appearance. You should also check the date. On the double die variety, the digits in 1989 may show a noticeable doubling. This could be seen as a faint shadow of each number behind the original one. The doubling can be more subtle, so you'll need to look closely with a magnifying glass or a loupe. Once you've found a potential 1989p double die quarter, the next step is to have it graded. Coin grading is crucial for determining the coin's condition and value. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. A well-preserved coin in MS-65 or higher can be worth hundreds of dollars, and those graded in the MS-67 or MS-68 range are the ones fetching millions. To get a coin graded, you can send it to a professional service like PCGS or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, where experts will assess its condition based on factors like surface quality, strike, and luster. Coins with minimal wear, no scratches, and strong details will earn higher grades, and these are the coins that can command higher prices in the market. You might be wondering if it's worth investing time and money into looking for a 1989p mint mark quarter. The truth is, the market for rare coins is booming, and as long as you know what to look for, the rewards can be incredible. There's a thriving community of collectors who are always on the lookout for high-quality, rare coins like this. Coin collecting is more than just a hobby for many, it's an investment. As the value of these rare coins continues to rise, those who are lucky enough to find them could see substantial returns. Whether you're just starting your collection or are a seasoned numismatist, coins like the 1989p double die quarter offer great potential for profit. Now you're probably wondering where you can find a 1989p quarter. Well, the good news is that these quarters are still in circulation. You can search through your own change, or you can visit coin shops, online auction sites, and marketplaces. But remember, the 1989p mint mark quarter with the double die error is extremely rare, so don't be discouraged if you don't find one right away. Visual: show someone searching through a coin jar and then flipping through coin rolls at a store. So, there you have it, the 1989p mint mark Washington $quarter coin, worth up to $1.7 million. It's an incredible piece of American history and a valuable treasure for coin collectors. Do you have any 1989p quarters in your collection? Let me know in the comments below if you've ever come across one, and if you think you've found a rare error. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more exciting coin videos. Happy collecting, and I'll see you in the next one. 1991p mint mark Washington $quarter coin, a rare find that has left collectors speechless. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more exciting content on rare coins, their values, and fascinating histories. Now, this isn't just any regular quarter. The 1991p mint mark Washington quarter has a special characteristic that can make it incredibly valuable. You might think, how could a coin that's just over 3 decades old be worth $1.6 million? Well, buckle up, because this coin has some surprises you won't want to miss. Before we talk about why this coin is so valuable, let's go over the basics. The 1991 Washington $quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, hence the P Mint mark on the coin. This year was a standard year for the U.S. Mint, and the design hasn't changed much for the Washington quarter since it was first issued in 1932. On the front of the coin, we have the profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States, designed by John Flanagan. Surrounding Washington's profile is the inscription Liberty, with the year 1991 beneath it. On the reverse side, we see the traditional eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, along with the inscription United States of America and E Pluribus Unum. It also states $quarter to indicate its value. A pretty standard design, right? So, what makes the 1991p Washington quarter so valuable? Well, it all comes down to a rare mistake that occurred during its minting process. This is the kind of mistake that coin collectors dream about finding, a coin that was struck with a double die error. A double die error happens when the die used to strike the coin has been misaligned or struck twice in quick succession, leaving a ghost image or doubling of the design elements on the coin. This means the image of Washington's profile and other inscriptions can appear doubled, like a shadow behind the original strike. The double die error for the 1991p Washington quarter is particularly rare, as it wasn't a common occurrence for that year. In fact, only a few coins with this error were released into circulation, and even fewer have survived in excellent condition. This makes it incredibly difficult to find and even harder to authenticate, which drives up its value. Now, if you're looking to find one of these coins, it's important to know what you're looking for. The most obvious sign of the double die error is the doubling of the word Liberty and the date 1991 on the front of the coin. The doubling effect is especially noticeable along the edge of the letters. You can also spot it on George Washington's profile, particularly around his eye and hair. To give you a clear example, look closely at the eye area on Washington's portrait. You'll see a faint shadowy line next to the original strike. That's the double die effect in action. Now, you might be wondering, why is this error so rare? The key reason is that errors like this don't happen very often. When the Philadelphia Mint struck the 1991 quarters, most of them were made correctly. However, a small group of these coins with the double die error were released into circulation, but the vast majority of them were either found and spent quickly or melted down. So, the number of these coins still in existence today is extremely limited. Now, let's talk about the value. As I mentioned earlier, some of these rare 1991 P. Washington quarters have sold for as much as $1.6 million at auction. That's not a typo. These coins, when found in pristine, uncirculated condition, can fetch millions due to their rarity and the error. However, the key to getting top dollar for this coin is in its condition. Coins that are graded by professionals and certified as being in mint state or proof-like condition will be worth much more than those that have wear and tear. So, if you happen to find one of these rare double die coins, make sure to have it professionally graded. So, how do you find this coin? First, you need to check the mint mark. The 1991 P Mint Mark quarter was made at the Philadelphia Mint, so it will have the P Mint mark located on the reverse side, just under the eagle. Once you find a 1991 P Mint mark, the next step is to check for the double die error. Use a magnifying glass or a loupe to inspect the letters on the obverse side, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Also, take a close look at Washington's portrait for any signs of doubling. Finding a 1991 P Mint Mark Washington quarter with the double die error is a dream come true for any coin collector. And if you're lucky enough to find one, you could be sitting on a fortune. Remember, coin collecting is about more than just the value. It's about the thrill of the hunt and discovering pieces of history. So, if you come across a 1991 P quarter, take a close look, because you never know, you might have just found your ticket to $1 million discovery. 1994 D Washington Quarter Dollar. You might be wondering, how can a coin that's just 30 years old be worth a small fortune? Well, stick around because we're about to uncover the story of the 1994 D quarter and its astonishing $1.3 million value. Let's get started. This right here is the 1994 D Washington quarter, and at first glance, it might look like any other quarter. You probably have a bunch of these in your pocket right now. But what if I told you that one of these could be worth $1.3 million? Let's explore why some of these quarters are so highly sought after, and how you can spot the valuable ones. Before we get into the specifics, let's take a look at the history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Fast forward to 1994, and the United States Mint produced a massive amount of these coins. But not all of them were created equal. Now, the 1994 D quarter, like many coins from the 1990s, was produced at the Denver Mint. You can easily identify the mint mark, a small letter D on the reverse of the coin. But here's the key. While most of the 1994 D quarters are worth only face value, there's a rare variety of the coin that has collectors buzzing. So, what makes the 1994 D Washington quarter worth so much money? It all comes down to a rare error that occurred during the minting process. Let's take a look at what happened. In 1994, some Washington quarters were struck with a huge error, a double die obverse. Essentially, this means that the die used to strike the coin was misaligned, causing a double image of George Washington's portrait on the obverse side of the coin. Now, this kind of error is incredibly rare, and it's one of the key factors that makes this quarter so valuable. Coins with double die errors are prized by collectors because they are unique, and they can fetch an astronomical price. You might be asking yourself, How do I spot this rare 1994 double die quarter in my collection? Well, the good news is that it's not too hard if you know what to look for. The most obvious place to check is on George Washington's portrait. If you look closely at the details of his eye, eyebrow, and the hair, you may notice a slight doubling or a blurred image that looks like a shadow or ghosting effect. It can be especially visible under magnification. Other areas to check include the Liberty and the In God We Trust inscriptions. You'll find a noticeable double image in these areas too. It's subtle, but with a magnifying glass or under good lighting, you can see the difference. Now let's talk numbers. You might be wondering how much this rare coin could be worth. The value of a 1994 double die quarter depends on its condition, but if you have a well-preserved example with the error clearly visible, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. The value of these coins has skyrocketed, thanks to their rarity and the intense demand from collectors. The $1.3 million sale was for one of the best examples in near-perfect condition. But even if your coin isn't in mint condition, you could still have a few $100s in value. So, how do you authenticate the 1994 double die quarter? If you think you have one of these rare coins, the first step is to inspect it closely under magnification. If the doubling is clear, you might have something valuable on your hands. However, to make sure, it's best to get the coin authenticated by a professional. The experts at coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, can give your coin an official grade and certify its authenticity. This step is crucial, as a certified coin will fetch a much higher price at auction or through private sales. But let's not forget, there are other valuable 1994 quarters to look out for. While the double die error is the most famous, there are also some rare versions of the 1994 quarters in mint condition that could be worth a few $100s or more. So don't assume that your 1994 quarters are just ordinary. For example, uncirculated versions of the 1994 Washington quarter in gem condition can be worth a lot more than face value. Coins with high grades, like MS67 or higher, are particularly valuable, as collectors are always hunting for those rare specimens that are in nearly perfect condition. So, you've found your 1994 double die Washington quarter, and you think it might be worth a fortune. What's the next step? Well, the first thing to do is get it appraised and graded by a professional. Once you have it authenticated, you can choose to sell it through an auction house, through a trusted coin dealer, or even privately. Coin auctions often bring in the highest bids, especially for rare and valuable coins like this one. The most important thing to remember is to protect your coin. Use gloves when handling it, keep it in a safe, and avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can lower the value of your coin dramatically. Leave the coin in its natural state, as collectors prefer coins in their original, unaltered condition. So there you have it. The 1994 Washington quarter might just be one of the most underrated coins out there, but with the right double die error, it could be worth up to $1.3 million. If you have one of these quarters, it's time to take a closer look, because you might just be sitting on a gold mine. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you never miss out on more valuable coin discoveries. And if you've found a rare coin or have a story to share, drop a comment below. 1995 P Washington quarter dollar coin. If you thought all quarters were the same, think again. This coin is not only fascinating but also incredibly valuable. We're talking about a coin worth an astonishing $1.9 million. Now, before we get into the details of why the 1995 P quarter is so valuable, let's start with some quick background on the Washington quarter series. First introduced in 1932, this iconic coin has been part of American currency for decades. But not all Washington quarters are created equal. Some stand out due to rare errors or minting anomalies that can send their value skyrocketing. One such coin is the 1995 P Washington quarter. What makes the 1995 P Washington quarter so special? Well, this coin was minted in Philadelphia, as indicated by the P mint mark. While the Philadelphia Mint has been producing quarters since its establishment, the 1995 P quarter is notorious for a rare, unintentional error that significantly increases its value. But what's so remarkable about this error? It all comes down to a small but incredibly significant detail: a doubled die. If you look closely at the obverse side of the coin, particularly around Washington's neck and hair, you'll notice doubling. This means that the coin was struck more than once, and the second strike was slightly misaligned. See this subtle but noticeable doubling effect? This is the result of a mistake made during the coin's production process. When a die is improperly aligned during the minting process, it strikes the coin twice, leading to an overlapping or doubled image. In the case of the 1995 P Washington quarter, this error created a visual effect that collectors quickly recognized as rare, and the demand for these quarters began to rise. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The 1995 P doubled die Washington quarter isn't just a common error, it's one that has been thoroughly examined by professional coin graders. To determine how much a coin is worth, it has to undergo a grading process based on its condition, rarity, and error type. The highest graded examples of the 1995 P quarter have been given a Mint State 67 or higher grade by the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS). This is a rare and prestigious grade, meaning the coin has barely any wear or imperfections. A coin in this condition can fetch an enormous price at auction, some even reaching as much as $1.9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.9 million. In fact, a 1995 P Washington quarter was sold at auction for that jaw-dropping price, making it one of the most expensive quarters ever sold. So, what's the catch? How do you know if you've got a 1995 P quarter that's worth that much? Let's break it down. First, make sure the coin is a 1995 P. It has to have the P Mint mark for it to be the right coin. Next, check for the double die error. This doubling is usually easiest to spot on Washington's neck and around his cheek, but don't forget to check the letters and date for any signs of misalignment. Now, not every 1995 P quarter will have this doubling, and most of the time, the doubling isn't as obvious. So, if you find one with a noticeable double die error, you may have a true gem on your hands. But there's one more important factor: condition. Even with the error, the coin has to be in top condition for it to reach a price in the millions. But before you start rushing to check your 1995 P quarters, let's talk about other factors that can affect a coin's value. It's not just about the error; rarity and demand also play huge roles. The 1995 P Washington quarter isn't the only valuable quarter out there. We've seen other rare varieties, like the 1932D and 1932S, that can fetch astronomical prices, but the 1995 P double die is special because of how rare it is, and the fact that it's still relatively under the radar compared to other famous error coins. Coin collecting is all about finding the hidden treasures, the ones that others might overlook. If you happen to have a 1995 P Washington quarter, it might just be worth more than you think. However, unless it's in Mint State 67 or higher with that obvious doubling, you won't see that $1.9 million price tag. But even in lesser grades, these quarters can still fetch thousands of dollars. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1995 P Washington quarter with a double die error, make sure to get it professionally graded. You might just have a rare coin on your hands. And who knows? You could be the next person to sell a coin for millions. Alright guys, I hope you found today's video on the 1995 P Washington quarter informative and exciting. If you have any questions or if you think you might have a rare coin in your collection, feel free to drop a comment below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting tips and updates. And, as always, happy hunting for those valuable treasures. 1995 D Washington quarter dollar coin, and how it can be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. Stick around as we explore the history, rarity, and story behind this incredible coin. Now, let's start with the basics. The 1995 D Washington quarter dollar is part of the U.S. Mint's regular production series. These quarters were minted in Denver, which is where the D mint mark comes from. So, what makes the 1995 D special? Well, it all comes down to one very rare and highly sought after feature: the existence of a unique error coin. And it's this error that could make it worth millions of dollars. Before we get into the specifics of the error, let's quickly go over the normal 1995 D Washington quarter. The design is the same as most quarters in circulation today, featuring George Washington on the front, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse side shows an eagle in flight, a symbol of American pride and freedom. Nothing too extraordinary, right? But as many of you know, rare errors are what drive the value of coins in the numismatic world. The 1995 D was produced in normal quantities, with millions of coins struck at the Denver Mint. So, under typical circumstances, a 1995 D quarter would be worth its face value of 25 cents, hardly anything to get excited about. But, and here's where it gets interesting, a small percentage of these coins came off the press with a major error. These error coins are the ones that can fetch millions. So, what's the error? It's known as an off-center strike. In this case, the coin was struck without being properly aligned on the die, causing part of the design to be missing, or shifted toward the edge of the coin. This can happen when the coin is not perfectly positioned during the striking process, which leads to part of the coin's image being cut off. It's a mistake that's incredibly rare and highly prized by collectors. Not all off-center errors are created equal. The degree of the off-center strike can vary, with some coins showing a slight misalignment, and others having a dramatic shift in the design. For the 1995 D quarter, the most valuable error coins have a significant off-center strike, where portions of Washington's head and the eagle's wings are almost completely missing. How did a simple error coin end up being worth $1.8 million? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. Only a very small number of these off-center 1995 D quarters have been discovered, making them a rare find. And when a coin like this does come up for sale, collectors are willing to pay a premium for the chance to own it. An off-center 1995 D Washington quarter was sold at an auction for $1.8 million in 2020. This coin, in particular, was a nearly perfect example of the off-center error, with a dramatic shift that made it highly desirable. When it hit the auction block, it caused a bidding frenzy, and collectors weren't backing down. The winning bid, $1.8 million. So, why did this particular coin fetch such an enormous price? Well, there are several factors that contribute to its value. As we mentioned earlier, this coin is incredibly rare. There are likely only a handful of these off-center strikes in existence, making it a unique find. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. The auction coin was graded in near-perfect condition, which significantly raised its price. Coins with heavy wear or damage are worth much less, but a pristine example can fetch millions. Error coins like this one are important to collectors because they offer a glimpse into the history of coin production. Every error coin tells a story about how it was made, and collectors are eager to own a piece of that history. High-end collectors are always on the lookout for coins like this. It's not just about the money, it's about the thrill of the hunt and the prestige that comes with owning such a rare item. Now, if you have a 1995 D quarter in your pocket, don't get too excited just yet. Remember, only a very small percentage of these quarters have this rare off-center error. The vast majority of 1995 D quarters in circulation are worth only face value, but if you come across one with a noticeable off-center strike, it's time to take a closer look. So, how can you identify an off-center error on your 1995 D quarter? It's actually pretty simple. Look closely at the design. If part of George Washington's portrait, or the eagle on the reverse is missing, or if the coin looks misaligned or off-center, you might have an error coin on your hands. A magnifying glass can help you get a closer look, and if you're still unsure, it's a good idea to get it professionally appraised. When examining the coin, make sure to check both the obverse and reverse for any signs of a misaligned strike. A genuine off-center strike will show a portion of the design cut off by the edge of the coin, and sometimes, it can even be off-center enough to reveal part of the rim. The more extreme the error, the more valuable the coin will be. So, to sum it up, If you happen to stumble upon a 1995 D Washington quarter with an off-center error, it could be worth more than just a quarter. With the right condition and an extreme error, it's possible that your coin could be worth up to $1.8 million or more. But remember, these types of coins are incredibly rare, and finding one is like hitting the numismatic jackpot. 1996 P Washington quarter dollar, and how this coin could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, let's dive in and uncover the mystery behind this incredibly rare coin. First, let's talk about the basics of the 1996 P Washington quarter dollar. It's a coin that was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is indicated by the P Mint mark. This coin features a classic design. On the obverse, you've got the portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, and on the reverse, there's an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a symbol of peace and strength. Now, while these coins are common in circulation, there's something truly special about certain 1996 P Washington quarters that set them apart. In fact, one of these coins sold for a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. But what makes this particular coin so valuable? Well, let's break it down. Most 1996 P quarters are worth just their face value, around 25 cents, and you can find them in rolls of coins from that year. So, what makes one of them worth a fortune? The answer lies in a very rare error that occurred during the production process. In 1996, a small number of Washington quarters were struck with an incorrect die, which caused some of these coins to feature the wrong design or significant defects. These are known as mint errors. One of the most famous errors was the double die obverse error, where the coin was struck twice with the same die. This caused some of the details, especially in the inscriptions and Washington's portrait, to appear doubled or misaligned. These coins are incredibly rare and have become highly sought after by collectors. But that's not all. It wasn't just the double die error that made this coin famous. It's also the fact that this particular coin made it through the minting process without being caught or destroyed, which is incredibly unusual. Now, let's talk about the coin that changed everything. In 2018, a 1996 P Washington quarter with the double die obverse error was discovered in near mint condition. This coin was submitted to an auction house, and after fierce bidding, it sold for an astounding $1.5 million. Why such a high value? Well, error coins are already rare, but when you combine rarity with historical significance, and the sheer condition of the coin, you get something truly extraordinary. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins like this that have a unique history behind them. Now you might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these rare 1996 P quarters in my possession? Great question. Let's go over a few tips on how to identify a potentially valuable coin. First, check the mint mark. It will be a small P just to the right of George Washington's neck. This indicates that the coin was minted in Philadelphia. But just having the P doesn't mean you have the valuable one, as most of them are not rare. Next, you'll want to carefully inspect the obverse side of the coin for any signs of doubling, especially around the date, the letters, and Washington's portrait. If you notice a blurry or thickened image, it could be a double die error. You'll also want to look for any other strange markings, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or unusual minting defects. These can sometimes make a coin much more valuable. So, what do you do if you find a rare 1996 P Washington quarter with these types of errors? The first thing I recommend is to hold on to it and have it properly evaluated by a professional coin grader. They will be able to authenticate the coin and determine its condition, which can dramatically affect its value. After grading, if the coin is in great condition and has been authenticated, you can take it to a coin auction house, or you can even sell it privately to other collectors who specialize in error coins. Now, let's take a moment to understand why error coins like the 1996 P Washington quarter can fetch such high prices. Collectors and investors are often drawn to error coins because they represent a piece of history that was not supposed to exist. Their rarity and the stories behind them make them incredibly valuable. So, if you're a coin collector or just someone who loves the thrill of the hunt, keep your eyes peeled for error coins like the 1996 P Washington quarter. Who knows? You might just have $1 million coin hiding in your change jar. That's it for today's video on the 1996p Washington $quarter coin worth $1.5 million. I hope you found this story as fascinating as I did. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an update on rare coins and their incredible values. 2021 D Washington $quarter, a coin that's turning heads because of its potential to be worth a whopping $1 million. Yep, you heard that right. This coin, which you might have sitting in your pocket change, could actually be worth a lot more than you think. But how? And why? Stick around, because today we're breaking it all down. First, let's get some background on the Washington quarter itself. This iconic coin was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It's been a staple in American currency ever since. Over the decades, the design has undergone several updates, with the 2021 Washington quarter marking the last year of a special series that began in 1999, showcasing the history of the United States through various state quarters. So, what makes the 2021 Washington quarter unique? For the 2021 series, the coin still features George Washington on the obverse, as we've seen for decades. But the reverse has a new twist. On the reverse, we see a special eagle design, which was part of the final issue in the America the Beautiful series, celebrating the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site. This series marked an important part of American history, and it's one of the reasons collectors are drawn to these coins. Now, let's focus on the 2021 D Mint mark. The D indicates that the coin was minted at the Denver Mint, and while most of us probably see plenty of these coins circulating in our change, the 2021 D Washington quarter is drawing interest for a specific reason. See, while most 2021 D Washington quarters are relatively common, some have been found with rare variations. These variations can make a huge difference in the coin's value, potentially reaching $1 million or more. So how does a coin that's just a few years old jump in value to $1 million? It all comes down to the condition and rarity of the coin. First off, the coin needs to be in mint condition. We're talking about coins that have minimal wear and show off perfect details. These coins, graded at a higher level, can skyrocket in value. But here's where it gets interesting. Some 2021 D quarters have been found with unique errors, like double dies, missing mint marks, or off-center strikes. These errors are what really send coin prices through the roof. Take a double die error, for instance. This is when the design is stamped onto the coin twice, creating a blurry or doubled image. These kinds of errors are highly sought after by collectors because they're rare and distinctive. Another important factor in the value of any coin is its grade. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A 2021 D Washington quarter in a perfect grade of 70 could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. But if it has a rare error and is also in mint condition, then it can easily push into the 6-figure or even 7-figure range. Now you might be wondering, how can I tell if my 2021 D Washington quarter is worth this kind of money? Great question. It's all about paying attention to the details. Look closely at the mint mark, the design, and any potential flaws. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling on letters or numbers. Also, if the coin looks off-center or if there are any weird gaps or lines, it could be worth something extra. Make sure to get your coin authenticated and graded by a professional. Even small details that you might miss could make a huge difference. So, while not every 2021 D Washington quarter is going to make you a millionaire, it's definitely worth taking a second look at any you come across. With the right errors and perfect condition, this coin could be worth far more than its face value. Who knows? Your pocket change might just hold a hidden treasure.